It's opening night, and here we've got Crowder now dropping his gloves. Linesmen move in. It was he and the big boy Probert, but they never get started. Now Stewart takes a hit from behind. Stewart going after Dave Barr. Now Stewart and Probert.
Stewie is a tough guy, but Probert is known as probably the best fighter in the National Hockey League.
Probert played only 4 games last year. The year before, in 25, he had 106 penalty minutes, and in 87-88, when he got in a full year, he had 398 minutes in penalties.
You know, and one of the things that really he has over other players, he's got tremendously long arms, Probert does, and he really is able to control the other player.
Penalties when we come back.
Crowder and Probert are out there together after coming out of the penalty box.
They'll find each other. Daneyko's shot is blocked out deep by Burr. Right back into Daneyko. Daneyko sends it in. Here's Laurie Boschman. Boschman with Crowder. Boschman shot. Shovel Day. Crowder charging. Couldn't get the rebound. Detroit back up. Here we go. Probert and Crowder.
Major moral victory for the New Jersey Devils right there. Probert is cut pretty good right there.
Couple of heavyweights. Probert took the worst of that one when Crowder is 6'4", 215 pounds.
I guarantee you, Gary, right now, Crowder goes with Joey Kosher before this game is over.
Troy Crowder's got Probert's side. Oh, Probert, look out, and here comes Troy Crowder. He's nailing Probert. They're equal size. And Troy Crowder wanted him, and he's got Probert's sweater over his head. And he better get it off of there, or the big guy's going to be in trouble. They get in. Here comes Probert back now. Oh, boy. Now, that'll be 2 major penalties on Probert, so Probert is cut, I believe, and we've certainly got to give that win to Troy Crowder. He's got to go and get some stitches. Boy, oh boy, that hasn't happened in a long, long time. And the chest of...
And there's Probert's eye right there. Boy, he's had a major league punch.
Troy Crowder, and he ended up in the fight.
Probert, Gary, still does not have a visa to go into Canada. They play 10 days from now, they play the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's 6 games in Toronto. He doesn't have a visa to go into Canada and play. That could mean up to 14 games that Probert will miss this season without having a visa to play in Canada.
The reason for that is the Canadian officials are still holding hearings on the deportation from the United States for the drug problems Probert's had. Until that's cleared up, he can't go. Kessel. Probert came in way overweight. Has had to work some pounds off and get himself in shape. But his teammates say he's really worked hard.
He's worked very hard. And I was asking some of them, they say that not only does he seem that he has kept himself clean, but his whole demeanor towards hockey, ice, and life has really picked up. He's a much more cheerful guy around the dressing room and on the ice. He doesn't seem to be carrying the problems that he had around with him.
Good luck to you, Bob Probert.
Quickly becoming a household name in hockey circles for another reason. At 6'4", 230 pounds, his quick hands have really opened people's eyes.
Certainly got to give that win to Troy Crowder. He's got to go and get some stitches. Boy, oh boy, that hasn't happened in a long, long time.
He throws him right from the shoulder. He doesn't wind up. You can't get a read on it. You got to fight your fight. You got to get him before he gets you. It can't be a fair fight. Best I've seen in a while.
In the first 6 weeks of the season, Crowder beat Chychrun, Probert, Cox, and Horacek twice. The word is out in all the NHL rinks. Troy Crowder is working his way up the heavyweight ladder, being challenged wherever he goes.
My reputation has gone to more buildings than I've played in, So, you know, when I first come into a building like Vancouver, it was the first time I ever played against Vancouver in Vancouver, you know. And Craig Cox said, you know, let's go off the draw. So I said, okay, and that was just a matter of a reputation that followed me before I even got there. So I'm very calm when I fight, and I think about everything that's going on when I'm fighting. It's a technique, it's a style.
What is that technique? What is that style?
There's a few trade secrets I don't want to give away, but being calm and always know where his fists are coming from, and always having a target is a very important thing in a fight. And I think a fight, everything slows down in my mind. The punches seem to come slower. I don't know what it is, but everything slows down when I get in a fight, and I see everything. I see the look in his eye. I see where I'm aiming. I see where his fist is coming at all in a second. I can see all those things at the same time, and it's just something I can do. You know, some guys, you know, can play basketball. Some guys can do things. It's just something I've always found easy to do.
They said, let's go, and away they go. Crowder gets a couple of early ones in, and he's got that right hand loose, snapping. And the referees and linesmen, I think, are going to let him go, but the two of them face to face right in front of the New Jersey bench. Ooh, Probert gets a right. The crowd now into that, but oh, Probert nails. He knocked him down. He knocked him down. And that's the rematch they've been waiting for 50 games. Boom, boom, Chicago. That's all she wrote there. But I'll tell you what, Crowder got his licks in early in that fight. And he's very calm, cool, and collected. But this 20,000 people on their feet. A TKO by Probert over Crowder. And that's, by the sound of things, that's what they all wanted to come to see. Bob Probert went over by Crowder in front of the New Jersey bench. Look at Crowder getting the early ones in. Probert's just trying to get himself and gain his composure at this point with Crowder, even with the hold of Probert's left arm, is throwing right punches.
We'll take a look at more of that confrontation. There was the first big right hand that Probert landed.
He started to come back and get his composure at this point, and he's got Crowder now off balance, and boom. And I'll tell you one thing, Bob Probert wanted that victory. Crowder goes after Probert, and he's got him early again. Same spot in the ice, and Crowder's got him early. He got him with a shot as they collided. Probert didn't see him coming. And boy, I'm going to tell you, the rest of the players, Probert can't get loose from his equipment, and Crowder continues to hammer on him. Now Probert's loose, and boys, are going to be an ugly man out there if he gets loose now. I'm going to tell you. Oh, Crowder really got Probert right in his nose. And then Probert decks Crowder again. Oy, oy, oy. Gee, I'm going to tell you.
Well, Crowder's got to get the extra two or something there, because he definitely went after him.
He did that time. There's no question about it. No question about that one. There, and I hope we've got replays far enough back to verify what happened in both situations. Well, hopefully we do. And
well, Crowder nodded as if to say, well, I got him that time, but when they squared off evenly,
well, you know, try to have a look here. Probert turned and saw him right there. Well, see, we're not going to cover it there, but bang. Crowder's already throwing punches before Probert's right glove is still on.
He didn't have it. He couldn't wrap his stick.
Get the glove off. He's trying to get his head out of the road as Crowder tries to get after him big time.
And then Gallant just went after Crowder, and he may neutralize whatever penalty was
Now
going
here's
to...
Probert with everything but the kitchen sink off his back. There is where Crowder really hit Proby right in the chin. He really hit him that time. And then down went Crowder. I couldn't see where Probert caught him there, but he got, you know, that fight there, David. Now here's a look at it from a different angle. See Probert turning right there, turns and boom, there's Crowder. He suckered him there. Almost, you could almost call that a sucker punch.
Yeah.
And now it's a matter of life preservation for Probert to try to just get composed and be in a position to even fight back, and Crowder's got the sweater over his head.
Yeah, he jumped him there. I mean, when they stood toe-to-toe the first time, Probert won the decision cleanly.
He's very fortunate that there was not more damage done before. So he's still not able to fight back until right here is where he's even able to begin to defend himself. All that time. Yep.
And who could forget these two classics between Bobby Probert and Troy Crowder in Detroit? Troy had already won round 1 in New Jersey, and here was the rematch. Things had to be settled. The next game was in Detroit, and you couldn't believe the electricity in the air. That crowd was buzzing. It was the toughest ticket in town. I phoned the Wings for a ticket. They said, sure, Grapes want to see Mario Gretzky. I said, New Jersey. No way, it's been sold out for 3 months. I finally got one in Peanut Heaven. I didn't care. I was there. Two things strike me in these fights. Why doesn't Bobby use tie-downs on his sweater? Like that's how he lost in New Jersey with his sweater over his head. And I believe Troy got his helmet welded on. Funny thing, the night before, I told the linesman I'm coming down to the game, you better not jump in. And as you can see, they did a good job. Again, two good guys that ask no quarter and don't give any. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed Rock'em Sock'em 3 Blue, and I enjoyed bringing it to you. Thanks for watching. See you later.
I told you the story, and I love the story about Crowder. Troy Crowder. He came up to me. I figure I was in the island, I think. I think he belonged to the island, I think.
It was in New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah. It was one of those swamp places, you know, down there. Anyhow, I was down there, and he come up to me, and he says, and I didn't know him. I was sitting in the stands watching the morning skate. He says, I'm as tough as Probert, and I'll beat him. I says, sure you will, kid. And but there he was planning 2 years before you come there. It must be tough. Just happen to have that, folks. Just happen to. We have the rematch. If I ever get through this show, here it comes. Now this is pretty good. This is the rematch coming right here. Troy had already won round 1 in New Jersey, and here was the rematch. Things had to be settled. The next game was in Detroit, and you couldn't believe the electricity in the air. That crowd was buzzing. It was the toughest ticket in town. I phoned the Wings for a ticket. They said, sure, Grapes want to see Mario Gretzky. I said, New Jersey. No way, it's been sold out for 3 months. I finally got one in Peanut Heaven. I didn't care. I was there. Two things strike me in these fights. Why doesn't Bobby use tie-downs on his sweater? Like that's how he lost in New Jersey with his sweater over his head. And I believe Troy got his helmet welded on. Funny thing, the night before, I told the linesman I'm coming down to the game, you better not jump in. And as you can see, did a good job. I watched Danny there while a fight was on. She liked it just like Rose when I used to fight. Who's kidding? Okay, but you know one thing
New Jersey's Troy Crowder gave Probert a little something to remember him by. But now that Crowder's throwing his punches for the red and white, everything's cool.
It probably takes a day or two just to break the ice, and once that happens, I mean, hockey, if everybody held grudges for everything that went on in hockey, there'd be a lot of people hating each other out there.
Well, no doubt Probert's got his share of those people, but then that's what this game's all about.
There's no hard feelings between any of us. You know, it's part of the game, and things like that happen, and once you leave that ice, a lot of the emotions are left out there.
Yeah, except some are just a little easier to spot than others. With the Wings.
Carter's gloves are down against Probert. We got two fights going on at once. Brashear is fighting with Jim Cummins. Probert is with Crowder in a heavyweight scrap in the corner. They're zeroing in on Crowder and Probert.
Well, Crowder went after Probert because Probert right away went after Kirk McLean. And then this one started with, on the backside, you can see Brashear's really turned it up.
Brashear's getting in a lot of left hands in his fight as you take a look at that scrap. He hit Cummins about 4 shots in the face with the left hand, but we still see the big guys, Probert and Crowder, trying to get a hand free to throw punches. They'll be getting a little tired now.
Well, that's the problem. You've got one linesman following each fight. And I got to tell you, Jim, that's the worst part in the game, because if you get hit, you're going to get hit twice. Both linesmen won't come in to help. Gabe Jackson's trying to take a peek at both fights here. And as a big guy there, Crowder just took down Probert and went right on top of him. And that's a smart thing for Crowder to do, just stay on him.
Hey, this is great. Now, if you like fights, we got 2 going here with a split screen.
Yeah.
And you saw Brashear grab at Cummins' pants, and now he nails Cummins. A lot of left hands. Cummins is trying to come back, but Brashear has had quite an edge in their fight. You know, Crowder has, look at all the scars on Cummins after that scrap with Brashear. Well, they finally break up the fights. There'll be a lot of penalties assessed here.
All he did is to start his career was he goes the ultimate heavyweight champ. God rest his soul, Bob Probert, wonderful man, but feared by all. He was the Detroit Red Wings' tough left winger, great player, and known as the toughest guy in the National Hockey League. And Troy Crowder is going to challenge Bob Probert right here in New Jersey.
Here we go, Probert and Crowder.
And I'm going, oh my, you might be biting off a little more than you could chew. And sure enough, the big fella caught Probert a couple of times and got his sweater stuck over him, cut Bob Probert over the eye, and we're like sitting on the bench going, holy mackerel. So all of a sudden, that spreads like wildfire everywhere around the National Hockey League, every city. Who's this Troy Crowder kid? He just beat the heavyweight champion league. So now we start going to different cities, and I in particular remember we're going on a Western road trip, and we're going to Vancouver, and we go to Vancouver, we land at the airport, there's cameras there, there's media there. We're going, oh, the Devils, we're a big deal now. No, they were coming to see Troy Crowder, and next day in the paper, heavyweight champ comes to town. I'll tell you about us going into Joe Louis Arena and the rematch between Troy Crowder and Bob Probert. We know how Troy Crowder took the league by storm, but now we go back to Joe Louis Arena and everybody's talking a month before the rematch, and Probert's going to be frothing and ready to revenge himself against Troy Crowder and take over the crown again. So I will never forget this. Night before, Troy's calm. He's a little bit nervous because he knows what's happening. The papers, day before, tail of the tape. Crowder, Probert, they had height, weight, reach. I mean, it was insane. And before the game, there had to be 20,000 people there 90 minutes before the game. You never seen the building filled up for warm-up. They were ready for this scrap. Hockey night in Canada, I don't think they were doing the game. They flew in, Don Cherry, and everyone knows the great Don Cherry, just to watch this. Everybody wanted to see the rematch, and sure enough, nothing transpires the first period. You know, the tension's building, the fans are waiting for it. They didn't really cross paths, and I guess both guys were a little bit tentative at the time. So Randy McKay, who was with the Red Wings at the time, tough as nails, Randy McKay, we know what he did for us, comes out and challenges me, and I guess he was kind of tapping the shoulder. He had to loosen the crowd up, and we had a pretty good scrap.
Oh, we got McKay and Daneyko, yeah. Look at these two hammering each other. My goodness.
Finally, within 2 minutes, right after it worked, there they go, the two big boys, Crowder and Probert, go at it.
They said, let's go, and away they go.
You know, it was a good fight. Troy might have had him early. I think Probert probably got the second half of it, and they ended up going again. But regardless, the outcome, Troy comes in, and he kind of looked like, I'm still here, I'm still alive. He was pretty pumped. Didn't matter how he did the second time. He was just pumped. A young 19-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid, fighting the great Bob Probert, who was the heavyweight champ. And that building went into a frenzy.
By the sound of things, that's what they all wanted to come to see.
It was amazing, and I'll never forget it. Troy Crowder was a legend for a couple of months, certainly, and went on to play for a few other teams. Great guy, great teammate, and boy, did he make us all feel a lot bigger, taller, heavier. He was one tough hombre.
Here's the
original fight that these two had in New Jersey. And watch what happens here, right?
Yeah, again, I was always trying to figure out how to grab the arm, and he was always trying to pull that jersey off. He'd love to bend down and tuck and pull it off, right?
Deserved the decision that he got there. Oh yeah. But again, that's all part of fighting. And here's the punch I thought that
The refs came in pretty early on that one. We were just kind of starting to get going. I don't know if they came in because the jersey came off or whatever, but we were kind of just getting going there when they came in. But I wasn't that upset they came in. For me, I always like to kind of feel where the guy's arm was, right? So I was always pushing back to feel where the guy's arm was, and he was always trying to pull back to free his arm or free his jersey or whatever, right? I think I hit him with a punch there, and then I was shocked that he didn't go down. Then he basically just pulled me forward. I was like kind of stunned that I didn't knock him out, and he pulled me off balance, and as I was going down, I said, oh, I better duck my head here before he gets me with one. So no major blows, but the people of Detroit were loving that one for sure. I think this was the second one. I think I chased him around there because my coach was like, that's it, you're getting him at the end of your shift. And I always said it was kind of like riding a bullet. You know, the first little while you're scared, and then you're like, oh, this is going to go on for a while. You better hold on. You better stay on top of it, because he seemed to get more worked up as the fight went on, and I was like, okay, I better make sure I got a good grip on this guy. I think they changed the tie down rules after this year. That's when you didn't have to tie down back then. Yeah, right there, I hit him with that one. Hit him with the left there, and then I was shocked he didn't go back. His head snapped, and I was like, Jesus. And then he gave me a little tug forward after that and kind of lost my balance.
A couple of years before the story starts, that you were in New Jersey, and a guy, great big guy, who's 6'4", walked up to you and said, hello.
I was just sitting there watching the warm-up.
And he says, hello, Don, I'm Troy Crowder, and I'm with the Devils, but I'm using Utica at the time, Utica Devils. He was in the American League. And he says, I'm going to make the National Hockey League, and I'm going to beat up Bob Probert.
And I thought, I said, look, well, he's big enough. And I said, good luck, kid. And that's all he said, and he walked on. By golly.
2 years later.
2 years later, he had a fight in
New Jersey.
New Jersey, and boy, did they ever go at it. And I'd have to say 6-4.
Because if I remember correctly, Bob never wore tie downs.
No.
And he got the jersey over.
Oh, he did a good number.
And he cut him. He cut him over the eye. So.
And, you cut Probert, you're a champ now. Yeah, it must have been tough on Probert at the time. Every tough guy. And so now they're having a rematch in Detroit. And he said some things, but he was.
Well, the press was playing it up like it was Ali Frazier. Yeah,
it was unbelievable. So I said to Ron McLean, I said, we should see that game. So we phoned. We're going to drive over. Yeah, we're going to drive from. And he said, "There's no tickets." Well, I said, "Well, no." He said, "There is no tickets. It is sold out. The press box is packed." He said, "I have two tickets up in the nosebleed." He says, "I don't know. They must have canceled or something." So we sat way up high. I remember that game now. I'll tell you that game now. I remember the fight. Well, first of all, I'll tell the fight.
Well, just before you get into it, too, remember you guys were walking in, you saw the referee and the linesman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we saw the linesman. I said, look, don't break up this fight. We drove all the way. He says, are you kidding? And the linesman, I said, we want to see this one ourselves. Imagine the linesman saying that now. Yeah. So I wouldn't say anything. He knew he could say that to me because I wouldn't say nothing in hockey. So anyhow, it was a beauty fight. I remember Probert hit, and it was pretty even. Yeah. And I think Probert hit his second fight.
Yeah, they fought twice in that game, yeah.
And the first time, it was down in the corner, and the second time, he beat him the second time. He hit him so hard, his helmet flew straight up. Anyhow, it was a good fight. So now, we said, well, look, we got to drive back. We have to leave.
Thank you.